Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Two videos in a day, probably. Yeah, so AOUAD review. This show or season or whatever you want to call it really triggered me. I did not like it from start to finish, bro. I'm serious. And I don't know, I'm leaning more toward the fact that this was just a bad and poorly written season versus it being, written well and me not just liking it. But yeah, and I'm just gonna go on a rant, I guess, because I have a lot of points to cover and a lot of things really got to me in this season. So, number one, from the very first episode in the show, right? Onjo, the secondary main character, or the main character, uh, she either got bit or scratched because she had some sort of wound on her forearm, and they never expanded on that at all. And from like episode one to I think episode four or five, or three, that's when I just forgot about it because I was wondering, are they gonna like say something about this, or are they gonna go the route of saying that, oh, she's immune to the effects of the zombie virus and stuff like that? But nothing, zilch. So I don't know. Did she get scratched, or did she get bit, or whatever? And I hope they don't really. Well, they're not going to, obviously. Never mind. But yeah, like that was just on my mind the whole time, and I wish they had, expanded on that at least. To me, they could have at least, I don't know, connected it to the whole Gyeongsu incident in episode three, I believe, when Gyeongsu got scratched initially, and then how Onjo was like, um, no, I held hands with Isak, and I didn't get the zombie virus. What if they could have like instead said that, okay, Onjo got scratched as well early on, and that way you can make it establish that scratches don't do anything to you, or I don't know if you had plans, differently for Onjo or Jeonsu, you could be like, okay, scratches don't do anything, but to that's just what they think, and truly, it takes like a longer time before you actually start to see the effects of the virus. But they just left it right there and did nothing with it. So it was on my mind the whole time. And I was just kind of confused every single time because I'm wondering, like, these guys are running for their lives. If Onjo gets bit, is she going to, you know, turn into a zombie? Because I'm thinking that she's already been walking with a wound this whole time. Or they could have done something like Onjo being immune to the zombie virus and then expanded on that as well. Or I don't know. The second thing I want to talk about is that initially when they were all in the classroom in like episode two, when the teacher came in, the gym teacher or something, when he got bit, right? There were like three chances to I think get the teacher out and then the girl that he bit as well. It had already been established in that same episode that Daesu was capable of picking them up and he will not get scratched or injured by them. And he could have thrown the teacher out through the window or opened the door and then thrown him out through there. Same thing with the girl as well. So, obviously you can just say, oh no, this is for the story. You have to suspend disbelief. But this is just what I'm saying. It's like I've watched I think a lot of like similar zombie or apocalypse type shows, and I'm just getting tired of it generally because obviously it's not realistic. Like, I mean, if you can pick someone up without getting scratched, you wouldn't leave the room. You would throw them out of the room and remain there thinking that help is going to come on the way. So, obviously everyone's go-to response is suspend disbelief. This is for the story to advance. But I think me generally, or me personally, I'm just waiting. I just want like a show to properly write it in a way that is more realistic because I think I'm just getting tired of poorly written like tropes for the sake of a story, and I just can't really take it anymore. It's like, how many more shows am I gonna see when the character can easily kill the zombie, but I don't know, they wait there for example or something like that, and it's just you get killed in the show, and you just start wondering why they didn't do anything, and it's because of the story. So you can imagine now for the character that I hated the most is Yi-hyun, and it's kind of ironic because she played a very kind character in Squid Game, the person that sacrificed herself. So I don't know how she's a good actress then, because she played this role well. She really angered me because she was just annoying from start to end, and she was just bashing heads with Gyeongsu and the rest of the team and everyone that was trying to stay alive as a group, and she was just insulting everyone there and chiming in when it wasn't necessary and contributing nothing but negativity only. And I'm not gonna say make yourself useful in that case because, for example, like if you run into a classroom with like three doors and you have three people capable of holding the doors by themselves, you don't need to do anything. I'm not gonna ask you to do something, but like it's the fact that, on a spectrum, you can help, you can do nothing, and then you can actually just be negative and just talk trash the whole time. And that's what she was doing the whole time. She contributed nothing. And then I rewatched it, right? So it all started when um they found a phone in the classroom, and then she was like, call the cops again. No, initially she said they found a phone that belonged to another student that was locked. And then she was like, do something. As if any of them could have just unlocked the phone randomly. And then um later on sometime, fast forward, she was like screaming, oh, this sucks. What is gonna happen? This sucks. I just want to get out of here. And then Jungti was like, you're not the only one that feels this way or something like that. He didn't say anything harmful. He just said, like, calm it, you know what I'm saying? And then she was like, shut up, and then insulted him, right? And then he got pissed off at that. Yeah, and obviously Jungsu didn't need to leave the door, right? Unattended. But then he did, and then the teacher came in, and then after that, after they got rid of the teacher and escaped to another classroom, then yeah, through the rope, right? They escaped through the rope, and then they went to Miss Parks. And then she called him a wealthy, which is short for someone in welfare, and then insulted his, financial situation and stuff like that. It was just not needed throughout. And she was like this, she was playing as if she was the main character, and as if she was out for her own survival and not trying to survive as a group. And that just really, like, that's what I'm saying. It's not realistic. Like, in any situation, I don't think someone can be that annoying and selfish to not like take in their surroundings and realize that, okay, you're in this together, and maybe not try to bash the people that are literally saving your life. So I mean, this partly pissed me off, and partly I was just like, okay, this is bad writing, because how many more characters are just going to be mindlessly annoying until they get killed off or something like that, or for some reason they survive, right? um yeah, and to top it all off, right, so they arrive at Miss Park's classroom, and then because she was seemingly wrong about him turning into a zombie, right? That's like the one part that I'll give her props for, because to be honest, it was an open wound and it was a scratch from the zombie, and she saw it clearly. So I mean, anyone would be kind of like cautious about that and would raise awareness to that. But after like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, he didn't turn, and that's how long it usually took to turn. And instead of her to apologize to Sue for being insultive and saying all these mean things to her, to him, she didn't. She instead killed him basically, because the zombie first kills you and then resurrects you as a zombie. So I mean, she didn't even have to do all that, and she just became a murderer because she couldn't accept 1L the whole time. And then they try to flip it. Like, this is what I hate shows like this sometimes, because it's just so unrealistic and it's annoying, and I'm getting tired of them. So it's all three things. They try to kind of flip it. Like later on, she said, "Oh, I have no friends, and none of you like me," or something like that. And I'm just like, bro, what? Like, you're the one. You literally killed Young-soo, and you're the one being negative to everyone else, and you're not contributing to helping. So all of those things are your fault. If you had just stayed silent the whole time, no one would hate you. You would just be a silent person trying to survive. So it just doesn't make sense. And also, I really hated Miss Park's character as well, because she, like, none of the students as well really stepped in to defend Jung-soo up until like that moment in the classroom. And Miss Parks, every single time Jung-soo would, like, bark back, Miss Parks would be like, "That's enough from the both of you. Stop arguing," and stuff like that. And even after she called him a wealthy, she was like, "Okay, don't say that," and then Jung-soo don't respond back. It makes you just as bad as her. Like, the same elementary school, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I hated her character. And the part that pissed me off the most is that after Nayeon escaped and wanted to be on her ones, Miss Parks followed her for whatever reason. She just outed herself as a murderer. But I don't know, they try to do this whole student teacher relationship thing where it's like, oh, I care about all my students and I'll never let one of them wander off. And then she went after Nayeon and saved her from a zombie, which in turn led to her death, Miss Park's death. And later on in the show, guess who dies? Nayeon. So the whole thing was just unnecessary. You didn't have to kill Jang-soo. You didn't have to do that whole redemption-esque arc thing for Nayeon or Miss Parks because they both ended up dying. And that's what really pissed me off the most because I didn't even care about the both of them because I was annoyed at them. And no, not one bit of backstory. Normally, when you have an annoying character, most likely it's not really an excuse, but most likely at the very least you get some sort of backstory for why they act the way they do. But we got nothing from Nayeon at all, at all. So we're just supposed to accept that like she's just an annoying character, and now I'm supposed to feel bad because she decides to go on her ones, and then she gets killed. I mean, no, and then she indirectly kills Miss Parks, and then she gets killed herself. That whole thing was just unnecessary. You didn't even have to add all that. So that's another thing that really pissed me off in the show. Yeah, and also throughout the show, there were the recurring cliches of like zombie apocalypse TV shows. The one person that keeps their scratch or their virus hidden up until the very end, that blows up the whole group's plans to survive, and then finding the device that'll get them help and calling the police or whatever, and then the help being unable to come, or it's too unsafe to help the survivors because it can spread. And then that one character that's the villain that somehow survives every single obstacle thrown their way. And they're most likely the first person to be like immune to the virus or to gain powers from the virus or something like that. And it's just unfair. And it's so crazy. But yeah. I just want like generally I just want it to be more real because yeah, I'm just getting tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. And I can't really watch another K drama with an annoying character that doesn't die, and just things that aren't really realistic. Like some of the characters don't really use their common sense in situations or their survival instincts. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, overall, I mean the show was all right. It was mid in my opinion. I didn't really enjoy it. That's for sure. I don't know if it was bad or if I just didn't really like it, but I think it was kind of bad personally. And but yeah, at least the acting all around was decent or good. And it was actually funny. I just didn't really laugh at the jokes, but it was funny. It was a funny show. But yeah, that's about it. Peace.